thank you for joining us this evening, and prior to the start of tonight's board meeting, we will hold a public hearing. With that, I'm going to open a public hearing regarding the annual appropriations ordinance for the Village of Shorewood, Will County, Illinois, for the fiscal year beginning April 1st, 2025, and ending March 31st, 2026. With that, are there any citizens wishing to address the village board during the public hearing section of this meeting? Seeing none, take a motion to close the public hearing. I apologize. Motion to close.
Second.
Motion by trustee Amos, seconded by trustee Luciano. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Seeing none, public hearing has been closed. With that, we will start or move to call to order the regular village board meeting of May 13th, 2025. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Lana, roll call, please.
Mayor DeBold.
Here.
Trustees Amos.
Here.
Babiak.
Here.
Brockman.
Here.
Chapman. Luciano.
Yeah.
And Selfridge.
Here.
All right, we do have enough to have our meeting this evening, so we do have established a quorum. With that, are there any citizens wishing to address the village board this evening? Seeing none, we'll move into this evening's consent agenda. Item 1 will be approval of the regular meeting minutes from April 22nd, 2025. Item 2 will be approval of accounts payable in the amount of $1,142,478.39. Item 3 will be approval of a payment in the amount of $10,296.73 to the Village of Woodridge for the transition of the Ilias Mobile Field Force funds. Item 4 is approval of the payment in the amount of $18,037.13 to Safe Step Sidewalk evaluation and repair. And item 5 will be approval of a payment in the amount of $10,000 to the Will County Center for Economic Development for the annual investment. Are there any items the board member has any questions or need any further explanations?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion by trustee Luciano.
Second.
Second by trustee Selfridge. Roll call, please.
Babiak.
Yes.
Brockman.
Yes.
Luciano.
Yes.
Selfridge.
Yes.
And Amos.
Yes.
All right. Moving on to our reports and communications for this evening, we do have a few proclamations to go through. Our first proclamation for the evening would be the National Public Works Week proclamation. National Public Works Week is May 18th through May 24th, 2025, and their motto this year is People, Purpose, and Presence. Whereas public works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, and services that are of vital importance to the sustainable and resilient communities and to the public health, high quality of life, and well-being of the people of the Village of Shorewood. And whereas these infrastructure, facilities, and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of public works professionals who are engineers, managers, and employees at all levels of government and the private sector, who are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our nation's transportation, water supply, water treatment, and solid waste systems, public buildings, and other structures and facilities essential for our citizens. And whereas it is in the public interest for the citizens, civic leaders, and children in the Village of Shorewood to gain knowledge of and maintain an ongoing interest and understanding of the importance of public works and public works programs in the respective communities. And whereas the year 2025 marks the 65th annual National Public Works Week sponsored by the American Public Works Association and the Canadian Public Works Association. Be it now resolved, I, Mayor Clarence DeBold, do hereby designate the week of May 18th through the 24th, 2025 as National Public Works Week, and I urge all citizens to join with representatives of the American Public Works Association and government agencies in activities, events, and ceremonies designed to pay tribute to our public works professionals, engineers, managers, and employees, and to recognize the substantial contributions they make to protecting our national health, safety, and advancing quality of life for all. In witness thereof, I hereunto set my hand and cause the seal on this 13th day of May, 2025. With that, Noriel, I do believe we have an open house coming up because of Public Works Week.
Yes, we do.
Can you touch on that real quick, please?
Yeah, so our Public Works open house is going to be May 31st from 10 a.m. to 2 o'clock p.m. We'll be providing, staff will be there. We'll be all there to enjoy the residents, come see the facility where we're at. We'll give tours of the facility itself. There'll be also touch a truck and some activities for the kids and hamburgers and hot dogs and some refreshments.
Thank you. And happy Public Works Week.
Thank you.
All right. Next, we have the Police Week proclamation. National Police Week is May 11th through May 17th, 2025. Whereas to recognize National Police Week 2025 and to honor the service and sacrifice of those law enforcement officers killed in the line of duty while protecting our communities and safeguarding our democracy. Whereas there are more than 800,000 law enforcement officers serving in communities across the United States, including the dedicated members of the Shorewood Police Department. Whereas since the first recorded death in 1786, there are currently more than 24,000 law enforcement officers in the United States that have made the ultimate sacrifice and been killed in the line of duty. Whereas the names of these dedicated public servants are engraved on the walls of the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial in Washington, D.C. Whereas 345 new names of fallen heroes are being added to the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial this spring, including 148 officers killed in 2024 and 197 officers killed in previous years. Whereas the service and sacrifice of all officers killed in the line of duty will be honored during the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund's 37th Candlelight Vigil on the evening of May 13th, 2025. Whereas the Candlelight Vigil is part of National Police Week, which will be observed this year, May 11th through May 17th. And whereas in 1962, President John F. Kennedy designated by proclamation the first Police Week and Peace Officers Memorial Day. Whereas May 15th is designated as Peace Officers Memorial Day in honor of all fallen officers and their families, and U.S. flags should be flown at half-staff. Therefore, be it resolved that the residents will observe May 11th through the 17th, 2025 as National Police Week in the Village of Shorewood and publicly salutes the service of law enforcement officers in our community and communities across the nation. Dated this 13th day of May, 2025. Chief, any comments, please?
No, thank you very much for recognizing that. I personally have 4 friends on the wall in Washington, D.C. and also in Springfield, so I appreciate it.
Thank you. And thank you for the police department for everything that they do throughout our community. Next, we have Building Safety Month proclamation. Building Safety Month, May 2025. Whereas the Village of Shorewood is committed to recognizing that our growth and strength depends on the safety and essential role of our homes, buildings, and infrastructure play, both in everyday life and in times of natural disaster. And whereas our code officials are dedicated members of the International Code Council, a nonprofit that brings together experts in the built environment to create and implement the highest quality of codes and standards to protect us in the buildings where we live, learn, work, and play. And whereas Building Safety Month is sponsored by the International Code Council to remind the public about the critical role of our code officials who assure us of safe, sustainable, and affordable buildings that are essential to our prosperity. And whereas each year, in observance of Building Safety Month, our residents are asked to consider the commitment to improve building safety, resilience, and economic investment at home and in the community, and to acknowledge the essential service provided to all of us by our building department and fire protection districts in protecting lives and property. Now, therefore, I, Clarence C. DeBold, Mayor of the Village of Shorewood, do hereby proclaim that the month of May 2025 is Building Safety Month. Accordingly, I encourage our citizens to join us as we participate in Building Safety Month activities, also adopted and enacted this 13th day of May 2025. Mr. Steriati? No comment. And look, but we do appreciate the building department, and there's always inspections, everything, making sure just stuff is meeting the code. There is a reason that we do follow codes, to help, produce, make sure we are providing safe and sound buildings. So we do appreciate your department as well. Apparently, Public Works, Police Department, and, Building Departments are all gonna have a little thing here between May, so. One other proclamation. This is a little bit more of a recognition for the Village of Shorewood. We have recognition of Shorewood, Illinois achieving the Tree City USA status. Shorewood earns 2024 Tree City USA recognition from the Arbor Day Foundation. The Arbor Day Foundation named Shorewood a 2024 Tree City USA in honor of its commitment to plant, grow, and maintain trees to benefit its community. They also awarded Shorewood a Growth Award, and the Tree City USA program has recognized cities and towns that leverage urban forestry to enhance the livability and sustainability of their local area for over 50 years. To earn Tree City USA recognition, a city must uphold 4 core standards: maintaining a tree board or department, having a community tree ordinance, spending at least $2 per capita on urban forestry, participating in an Arbor Day celebration. With the additional recognition of a Growth Award, Shorewood is going above and beyond in its dedication to sustainable urban forest management. And this is the press release from the Arbor Day Foundation. There is a press release from the Arbor Day Foundation on our website. So thanks to the Public Works Department, Village Board, and staff for helping us maintain, the different parkway trees and the health of those different things, of making certain that we're keeping that viability out there for everybody. All right, moving into this evening's order of business. Item number 1 will be a consideration for approval of a proposal for professional engineering services with Christopher Burke Engineering for Phase 2 design and Phase 3 construction services for the 2026 MFT resurfacing project in the amount not to exceed $117,920. Public Works.
Thank you, Mayor. So as we are already in construction for our 2025 MFT project, we are already starting to think about next year's resurfacing contract. We are targeting approximately 3.1 miles of roadways. Some of the locations is the Brook Forest subdivision. This is where we're going to be doing all of the water main work this year. Sunset Hills subdivision, River Crossing subdivision, and Summit Creek subdivision. Our fiscal year 2026-2027 proposed budget request will be approximately $1.5 million. If the board decides to adjust this amount during our budget process, we will be prepared to adjust the list accordingly for the resurfacing next year. Our goal is to prepare the construction documents and have a bid opening in the January, February of 2026 timeframe. Attached is C-Bell's proposal for Phase 2 and Phase 3 construction. We are recommending approval of the proposal for professional service with C-Bell for Phase 2 and Phase 3 engineering for our upcoming 2026 MFT project in an amount not to exceed $117,920. Any questions?
Anybody have any questions for Noriel on that? Kind of routine for us.
I'll make a motion for the approval of a proposal for professional engineering services with Christopher B. Burke Engineering for Phase 2 design and Phase 3 construction services for the 2026 MFT resurfacing project in the amount not to exceed $117,920.
Motion by trustee Selfridge.
Second.
Second by trustee Amos. Roll call, please.
Brockman,
Yes.
Luciano.
Yes.
Selfridge.
Yes.
Amos.
Yes.
And Babiak.
Yes.
All right, item 1's been approved. Business item number 2 will be consideration for approval of the purchase of a rotary SPO 22 post lift in the amount of $30,300 and a payment of 50% deposit in the amount of $15,150 from Chris Thielson Incorporated. Back to Public Works.
Thank you again, Mayor. So our Public Works is equipped with a light-duty lift and a heavy-duty platform lift. We have 4 bays in our fleet division with 2 full-time mechanics. Our mechanics do a great job addressing all of our equipment repair needs for both Public Works, Building, and Village Hall, and of course our police department. To be a little bit more efficient, we find ourselves struggling sometimes with the use of the heavy-duty lift, especially with some parts taking some time to obtain for the repairs. With the parts taking a little longer, the heavy-duty lift is often stuck with a repair on the platform, which we cannot remove the vehicle in many cases because it's already taken apart. So to help with efficiencies, we're asking to be able to purchase a medium-duty lift. We have $32,000 in our fiscal year budget. We're recommending approval to purchase a rotary 2-lift post in an amount of $30,300 and a payment of 50% deposit in the amount of $15,150 to Chris Nielsen Incorporated. Any questions?
Anybody have any questions? This was a budgeted item that we went through a little while back, so if there's no questions, take a motion to approve.
I make the motion to approve as read.
Motion by trustee Amos,
Second.
second by trustee Selfridge. Roll call, please.
Luciano.
Yes.
Selfridge.
Yes.
Amos.
Yes.
Debbiak.
Yes.
Brockman.
Yes.
All right, item 2 has been approved. Item number 3 will be a consideration for approval of a resolution to authorize an intergovernmental agreement between the Village of Shorewood and the Illinois Public Works Mutual Aid Network. And Public Works one more time.
Thank you again, Mayor. So we are a member of the Mutual Aid Network. This is Public Works, basically helps other public works in times of need with equipment and labor. Anytime there's an emergency and such, and this area, if we're inundated with a tornado of some sort or a flood incident, we come to the rescue for other agencies and requesting their assistance in this area. Now, one of the most recent events where we assisted was with the tornado that happened in this area with assisting Shanahan and Manuka themselves. So they have revised the agreement, and one of the major revisions is the mutual aid is not only just for emergencies itself, but if they find themselves that they need one-time assistance from a piece of equipment rather than trying to rent or such, we may be able to assist with it, and the verbiage was the agreement was revised to accommodate. We would like to continue this membership, and our attorney already has reviewed the IGA, and we are recommending the approval of the resolution and IGA with the Illinois Public Works Mutual Aid Network. Any questions?
Anybody have any questions for Noriel on that?
Do you, how often do you anticipate aid coming up or reaching out to other companies to use their equipment?
It happens quite often, but we're a smaller community. Usually they're asking for those one-time big pieces of equipment. So usually like the bigger municipalities, Naperville, Joliet, they answer those calls.
Okay.
This must have been happening, I mean, you guys do this stuff all the time, help out in emergencies.
Oh, yeah.
Where it was non-emergencies, that must have been happening more often than was productive.
We haven't had to answer any calls yet for the non-emergency,
Yeah.
but we do see them from time to time.
Okay.
I'll make a motion for the approval of a resolution to authorize an intergovernmental agreement between the Village of Shorewood and the Illinois Public Works Mutual Aid Network.
Second.
Motion by trustee Selfridge, seconded by trustee Luciano. Roll call, please.
Selfridge.
Yes.
Amos.
Yes.
Debbiak.
Yes.
Brockman.
Yes.
And Luciano.
Yes.
All right, moving on to business item number 4 will be a consideration for approval of the annual appropriations ordinance for the Village of Shorewood, Will County, Illinois for the fiscal year beginning April 1st, 2025 and ending March 31st, 2026. This item is back up for our second read. Over to Finance, Ms. Burkholder.
Thank you. This is the second read of our 2025-26 appropriations ordinance. This does represent the legal portion of the village's annual budget. It does follow pretty straightforwardly the budget that we approved a couple months back. We do put an inflation on those budget amounts to account for anything we cannot predict. The only deviation from that is the timing of that second payment to the YMCA. So it's not a change in amount, just that it's going to occur in this fiscal year and not the last fiscal year. The total village appropriation across all funds is $140,057,261. Be happy to take any questions.
Anybody have any questions on the appropriations ordinance?
I'll make a motion for approval of an ordinance implementing a municipal, oh, I'm sorry, wrong one. I'll make a motion for approval of an annual appropriation ordinance for the village of Shorewood, Will County, Illinois, for the fiscal year April 1st, 2025, and ending March 31st, 2026.
Second.
Motion by trustee Luciano, seconded by trustee Selfridge. Roll call, please.
Amos,
Yes.
Debbiak,
Yes.
Brockman,
Yes.
Luciano.
Yes.
And Selfridge.
Yes.
All right, item number 5 will be a consideration for approval of an ordinance implementing a municipal grocery retailer's occupation tax and a municipal grocery service occupation tax for the village of Shorewood, Illinois. This item is also up for a first read. Ms. Burkholder.
Thank you, Mayor. As you may recall, there was Public Act 103-0781 repealed the statewide grocery tax, and that will be effective January 1st, 2026. That tax rate is 1%, and the entirety of the amount does go back to the municipalities. The state has given municipalities the option to continue that grocery tax by passing an ordinance. In order to do so, we would need to have that ordinance in place with the Department of Revenue before October 1st to ensure that we don't see a lapse in those collections. Utilizing publicly available data, we can confirm that that amount here in the village is more than $600,000 annually, so it does represent a material portion of our annual budget. The tax can only be imposed at that 1% rate, so we can't do a quarter or a 0.5%. It's all or none. This is the first read. I'd be happy to take any questions.
Obviously, as we've all talked about, this is nothing more than locally we have to impose it since the state took it away. There's no change to anything our residents would see at a grocery store or anything right now. So this would simply just allow status quo. So if anybody wants, we can waive the second read. Otherwise, we can leave it as a first and do it again in 2 weeks.
I always like to leave to second read for anything that's a tax consideration. This was
Not a problem.
my thought.
Yep, no problem with that. Are we okay with that?
Yeah.
All right. So first read's out there. Give everybody a couple weeks to kind of ponder that. If there's any questions, we can bring that back into that light. With that, let's move on to business item number 6. Will be consideration for approval of a resolution accepting a final plat for Shorewood Veterinary Clinic subdivision. Trustee Brockman and Ms. Engel.
Thank you, Mayor. We did look at this at our last planning and zoning meeting. It comes here with a 7-0 vote. And Natalie, you wanted to fill in any of the blanks for us, please?
Sure. As you've all seen, the vet clinic is under construction. What they're basically coming back for is to subdivide the lot. The graphic will be up on the screen in a minute. You'll see that on the north is the library lot. It's basically part of the original lot. It was never formally subdivided, so it creates the library lot, coincidental with where the lot lines really are. It creates the blue property, which is for the vet clinic, and then the green property, which is all the future development area, which is also owned by the same people who own the vet clinic. That's just a graphic showing it. This page is the formal first page of the plat that shows the 3 lots and then the signature blocks. We've recommended in favor of approval. It's been reviewed by the staff as well as the village engineer.
Will the road they need be right on the line with the library, or is it a different spot?
It will be very close to it. I believe they've created access so the library can connect up to it, so it runs basically along the north end of this green property that you see on the screen.
Any other questions, comments?
If there aren't any, I will make a motion to approve resolution accepting a final plat for Shorewood Veterinary Clinic subdivision.
Motion by trustee Brockman,
Second.
seconded by trustee Amos. Roll call, please.
Debbiak,
Yes.
Brockman,
Yes.
Luciano,
Yes.
Selfridge.
Yes.
And Amos.
Yes.
All right, moving on to business item number 7 will be a consideration for approval of a resolution authorizing the village administrator to enter into an exclusive listing agreement with the Caton Commercial for the marketing of property at 906 and 908 Cottage Street. Ms. Engel.
Thank you, Mayor. On the screen, you'll see a map. The green properties are owned by the Village of Shorewood. They're the former Public Works facility. We have proposed to have the village administrator enter a contract with Caton Commercial so that they can market our property. They're also marketing the property that's shown in yellow or orange, which is owned by the Ulatowskis, so they would have, approximately 14 acres total of that redevelopment area that they can market. The proposed price is $6 per square foot, so it's just under $1.8 million total. The listing calls for a 6% commission and would be valid through the end of the year.
Anybody have any questions at this time? I know we've been back and forth on this a couple different times.
And so the listing price, if it's sold, it would be divided equally by the acreage?
I believe that if it's sold to say both are you talking about between the different parties?
Well, so we're gonna list that $6 per square foot, so if it sells for that, we're gonna get $6 per every square foot that we own,
Correct.
Not, all the properties are valued the same, I guess that's where I'm trying to
Two
ask.
separate agreements. I mean, this doesn't.
This is just for us?
This is just for us.
This is
Gotcha,
just for our
gotcha,
property.
gotcha,
Doesn't-
gotcha.
Has nothing to do with the orange property.
Gotcha,
It just
okay.
happens to be the same road.
Okay.
So I would expect that they would come in with somebody would come in with an offer to the village. If they wanted to do the whole thing, they would also come in with a separate offer to the Ulatowskis.
Okay, now I get it, okay.
No other questions or concerns? I will make a motion to approve a resolution authorizing the village administrator to enter into an exclusive listing agreement with Caton Commercial for the marketing of property at 906 and 908 Cottage Street.
Second.
Motion by trustee Brockman, seconded by trustee Amos. Roll call, please.
Luciano,
Yes.
Selfridge.
Yes.
Amos.
Yes.
Babiak,
Yes.
and Brockman.
Yes.
All right, moving into our final item for the evening will be a consideration for approval of an ordinance granting a conditional use for a motor vehicle repair facility in the I-2 General Industrial Zoning District for Alpha Truck Services. This item is up for first read as well. Trustee Brockman and Ms. Engel.
Thank you, Mayor. We looked at this agenda item at our last meeting. We did hold a public hearing. There was no one from the public that spoke for or against the project, and the commissioners voted 7-0 for the vote, as long as they concurred with all the proposed conditions that we lined out in the listing here. So, Natalie, you want to explain that to us, please?
Certainly. Alpha Truck Services would like to run a truck and trailer repair business at 205 Earl, and they've requested a conditional use permit to allow the use. It's a multi-tenant building that would be shared with Allstate Express, a logistics company that's been operating there for about 10 years, as well as Zero Auto Warehouse, which is an online auto dealership that's been there for about 5 years. The building was built in the 1980s, and the houses behind it were built shortly thereafter. Alpha would like to do a truck and trailer maintenance, routine inspections, oil and filter changes, and things like tire, brake, and wiper replacements. Their typical weekday hours are from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. They do occasionally stay late until about 7 p.m., so the ordinance reflects weekday hours of 8 till 7, although they're much more likely to be 8 till 5. They are open until 2 p.m. on Saturdays and are closed on Sundays. They expect to be able to perform repairs on approximately 2 to 5 trucks per day. They'll perform all of their repairs indoors with nothing allowed outside. They will occasionally have off-hour pickups and drop-offs of vehicles, but no later than 9 p.m. Monday or through Saturday, and there will always be a staff member or an owner present when those vehicles are dropped off. Alpha would occupy the east half of the building. They'll have a repair zone which fits the trucks and trailers with the door closed. They'll also have some office space. They have access to approximately 4 automobile parking spaces, which is well in excess of what they need for their business. They will also have access to 13 semi-truck parking spaces for their trucks and trailers. They're planning to do some striping and some numbering of a couple of the spaces, as well as to add some fencing where you see the yellow line, just to keep everything neat and tidy. Because this is a conditional use, we did work with them on some conditions, so I'll just go through those, and if you have any questions, feel free to interrupt. The conditional use would allow the mechanical repairs of motor vehicles and trailers, as well as office work, No body work, no vehicle washing, or no vehicle or trailer sales will be permitted. Vehicles can't idle for more than 10 minutes. Really, the intention is for them not to idle at all, but we wanted to put a limit in there so that it would be easily enforceable, so we have a limit of 10 minutes. Trucks and trailers can only be parked in the designated parking areas shown on the plan. They can't be parked in the front yard, they can't block drive aisles, they can't be stacked along the building, they can't use passenger vehicle parking spaces, they have to be parked in that area. And then an 8-foot privacy fence would be added in the yellow area. I believe they're planning on doing a wood fence, but essentially what the ordinance calls for is any type of an 8-foot privacy fence, and it would be along the west part of the property, the south part of the property where it meets the other property and where it's not fenced, and then along the front where the trucks will park. Outdoor storage is not permitted at all, so they can't have any scrap vehicles, trailers, parts, oil, any of that stuff outside. Everything needs to be inside, and things like motor oil, coolant, tires will be picked up by a third party. Dumpsters and trash receptacles will need to be placed in an enclosure. They're not currently enclosed today, but they'll have to be placed in an enclosure that meets our code, which means enclosed on 3 sides, at least 18 inches higher than the highest portion, and they'll keep it away from the residences. As I mentioned, all vehicle inspections, repairs, and other work need to be performed inside with the doors closed. We've had issues with that type of stuff with other automotive repair businesses, so we wanted to make sure that it's doors closed so that way the neighbors aren't bothered by the taking off of wheels and repair tools, noises, and whatnot. As I mentioned, we have the limits at 8 a.m. till 7 p.m. Monday through Friday. We really expect them to be done by 5 p.m. most days, and between 8 and 2 on Saturdays. Drop-off and pickups end at 9 p.m. Every day except for Sunday, and as typically seen in these ordinances, they do have to follow the zoning ordinance and all the other regulations. The property owners, or the business owners are here. Should you have any questions, and I'm happy to answer some as well.
The neighboring property has the same building, but they already have some other trucking operations working within the building?
So Allstate Express is currently operating within the building. They have been approved as a logistics company, and they may be doing some work on their vehicles, but we're unsure of how that was approved when they came in.
But there's still trucks in and out, though?
There are, and those trucks will stay. They're not taking the entire space, so those trucks will stay.
Have there been any complaints about any of those businesses?
The only complaint we ever get is that they occasionally park one truck on the drive aisle in the front yard, so that's something that we could address through code enforcement. That's the only complaint we've had.
Just curious.
Or to my knowledge.
Okay. Bob, anything that you're aware of from over there for code and issues? No. Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
The truck parking, because it mentions that they have 13 spots, and there's picture, so that logistics company, they have spots for trucks, and then this new business will have truck for spots?
Correct.
Okay. So it's more than 13 total, just 13 will be
13 will be for Alpha, that's right.
I just wanted to clarify that. That's my only question.
When we, the criteria in the use, conditional use, when that doesn't go as planned, the onus is on us, the village, to enforce that.
Correct.
What's our history in doing that with businesses of this kind of genre?
So we've had some businesses that, we found to not be compliant with their conditional uses that we've approached, and they've corrected the issue immediately. We also have other businesses that have been problematic. I can think of 2 specific examples that are also truck and trailer repair businesses that just were too big for their space and that we've had enforcement issues with.
And not just staff going and figuring out the code and if they're within code and things like that, but also any legal fees and expenses to the village that comes up, correct?
Definitely a possibility.
And it takes a year, maybe a year or 2 years to kind of get it all straightened out one way or the other.
It depends on the business. We had one business that had a conditional use that was recently issued. We, contacted them. This wasn't a repair business. Well, it was, but it was automotive repair. Contacted them, and they resolved the issue within a week. We've had truck repair businesses that have been non-compliant for years. So it really depends on the business. But
Thank you.
We've had both.
Do we have any requirement of when they have to have the fence installed and the striping done by?
Before they move in.
It has to be done before, it's in ordinance?
I believe so. But it would be the intention that we wouldn't sign the business license before. they had that vote.
Secondly, in the narrative, and I had mentioned this to you earlier, it indicates the hours that they were requesting were from 8 to 5. But yet in the ordinance, we're going 8 to 7. And you mentioned that probably they won't go past 5. So I would like to see it stay at 5, because if we have it at 7, there's a possibility they can go past 7. And then the second part of it is, also in the narrative, it indicated that they would have no truck idling. And in the ordinance, it indicates that you're gonna allow them 10 minutes of truck idling. So that's two concerns I have. And lastly, the trucks that from the other company that are there presently are parking all the way from front to back. Once they go in, are they gonna be allowed, the other company gonna be allowed to park their trucks in those 13 spots?
No, I believe those 13 spaces are gonna be designated specifically for Alpha, so they're gonna have to amend their operations a little bit.
Like I said, I'd like to see the hours changed to what they requested, and also that there be no truck idling, which was in the original narrative that I see on the write-up.
Sure. We defined the truck idling as 10 minutes just so that there was a specific requirement, but I think they'd be willing to take that out. From what I understand, your hours of operation were 8 to 5, and you were accounting for some overtime occasionally. Is the applicant amenable to just ending it at 5 p.m.? Or do you need to be able to go to 7 p.m.?
Mm-hmm.
So the idea is definitely 8 to 5, it just, it's a truck repair shop, and it's like, sometimes you're short of 15 minutes, just to finish, just to bolt a couple bolts, and, we understand it's 8 to 5, it's 8 to 5, just like that's, we're not planning to do 8 to 7, but just, it gives us a little bit of leeway, a little bit of freedom,
No, I understand the fact that you're not planning on going past 5, but I don't wanna see it to 7 because it gives you the ability to go to 7. I'd rather see it at 5 if that's not a problem.
We are in your hands, basically, so.
It's your decision, not ours. Whatever you guys decide, that's how it's gonna be. We're just asking you if it's possible, probably to 6 if possible. If not, it's 8 to 5.
8 to 5, and no adding sign.
Make the motion, you wanna do it as amended? You can waive the second read.
No, I do it as amended unless, we can go to second read if someone else.
Anybody have any other question, or you wanna leave it as first read? I don't have any.
I think the 5's good.
You can make if you want, you can make the motion to waive the second read as amended if you like, sir. Otherwise, we'll leave it to second read, and if you want to leave it that way, we can bring it back next meeting and just have the corrected documentation, if there.
Well, I'll make the motion then for approval of an ordinance granting a conditional use for a motor vehicle repair facility in the I-2 General Industrial Zoning District for Alpha Trucking Service, amending the hours from 8 till 5, and also amending no idling in the outside.
And at that point, waive the second read.
Waive the second read.
Okay. So we have a motion by trustee Luciano.
It's 8 to 5 only Monday through Friday, right?
Right.
Right.
Saturday's fine,
Yeah.
and no Sundays. All
Correct. Is there a second on that?
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion by trustee Luciano, seconded by trustee Selfridge for the, a motion as amended with the hours and the no idling and waiving the second read. So with that, Lana, roll call, please.
Brockman,
No?
Luciano,
Yes.
Selfridge,
Yes.
Amos,
No.
and Babiak.
Yes.
All right, so
So,
item,
Mayor, you have to vote on that.
I-
Three yeses, is that right?
yeah, then I'm a yes as well, as amended. All right, so item 8's been approved as amended with that. With that, we'll move into our department reports. Building department, Mr. Steriak. Pardon?
Aye.
Not a problem, sir. Community development,
No report, thank you.
finance,
No report, thank you.
and parks, here comes Ms. Katie.
Good evening. We are having our Memorial Day ceremony on Monday, May 26th at 9 a.m. out at our Veterans Memorial. We invite everyone to attend. And then Party in the Parks will start June 5th. And our 4th annual Barbecue and Brews will take place on Saturday, June 7th from 12 to 6 out here at Town Center Park. Thank you.
Thank you. Chief?
Thank you, Mayor. Just a reminder that this Friday from 5 a.m. till noon is Cop on Rooftop at both of our Dunkin' Donuts locations. All proceeds to go to the Illinois Special Olympics. We got a call today from Channel 2 that they will be out doing a live shot at a location on Route 59. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Public Works?
No report, Mayor.
Thank you. Administrator?
No report.
Thank you. We'll move into our trustee comments. Trustee Amos.
Thank you, Mayor. No comments tonight.
Trustee Babiak.
No comments, thank you.
Trustee Brockman.
Thank you, Mayor. Next meeting will be June 4th. Too early for an agenda. We also, on our last planning zoning meeting, we looked at a concept plan for Shorewood Espionage. Is that proper pronunciation? That's one of them. And a lot of positive comments on that, so that went real well. We also had a public hearing on solar and wind electrical generation, and we continued that to our June 4th meeting. And I got a call out, Noriel. He's called me, I think, 4 times now in the last 6 weeks. And, you know, we give away a lot of free stuff here at the village for the tax dollars that we pay. And, you know, like, just for instance, the last bill list here, we had $1,400 for Easter eggs. We got $20,000 for fireworks, thousands for Party in the Park. But I think we ran into the best thing ever. The leaves that we picked up in 2022 are now ready for people to pick up as compost. And it's absolutely beautiful stuff. And I might add, without any stink, we made this stuff. So, that I know of, I don't think there was any, but anyway, every time I go down there to pick up a little bit, I meet some new people. There's just always a line of people down there picking up the new compost, so it's absolutely fabulous. So I want to give credit to the staff down there and your public works employees. They did a fabulous job, and mind you, those were 2022 leaves that we're using now. So we got 2023 and 2024 coming up. So anyway, thank you. Thanks, Noriel.
Thank you, sir. Trustee Luciano.
Citizens Advisory Committee will be meeting May 22nd at 7 p.m. here at the Village Hall. As always, if anyone's interested in becoming involved with the committee, they can contact myself or any of the other members whose information is on the village website. During the last few meetings, we've been discussing some ideas for recognition for residents' achievements. And the staff has come up with an idea to put some stuff on the village website. That's initially what we're starting to discuss. We'd like to further discuss it to see if there's some other type of recognition we would like to consider for different areas of achievement or echelon of achievement, depending on how big of achievement you have. So as long as the board is okay with us continuing in that manner, we'll continue. And if the board is not in favor of us continuing looking at other forms of recognition, I would ask to get an idea of what you guys are feeling now, so we don't continue to discuss it and bring it in you're not interested in it. So if I can get an idea if you're willing to let us bring some more ideas to the village board in the future of different types of recognition that we may come up with. We haven't come up with anything substantial what we want to do, but we thought that based on what your achievement is, there should be a different type of recognition for higher achievements. But that's basically where we're at.
See what kind of ideas you come up with. Obviously, there may be certain limitations, of course, as to what we could do, but it doesn't hurt to at least see what you guys come up with as a group.
All right, so then we will continue pursuing that. Thank you.
And trustee Selfridge?
No comment. Thank
No
you.
problem. With that, motion to adjourn for the evening.
So moved.
Motion by trustee Luciano, second by trustee Amos. Roll call, please.
Selfridge,
Yes.
Amos,
Yes.
Debbiak,
Yes.
Brockman, and Luciano.
Yes.
All right, we are adjourned.